results, but fundamentally it's about what you put your attention on. Because if you keep putting your attention on the thing, eventually you will get better at it, right? If whatever you want, if you keep putting your attention on it, you will gain more knowledge, more mastery. It will start to grow in your life. It's just a very fundamental law that governs creation. So think about that then. If most of the time you're putting your attention on what you don't want, what are you going to get in your life? Should be totally obvious, right? You're going to get a lot of what you don't want. Now take a look at your life. Can you see that that law is working perfectly? You put your attention on what you don't want, you get what you don't want. Then what happens? You typically put more attention on the thing you don't want. And then you get more of it, right? And then because you keep getting more of it, you keep saying, well, I can't help but put my attention on it. It's right there staring me in the face. I have to keep putting attention on it. So you put more attention on it. And then what happens? You get more of it. Now, along the way, of course, you're not thinking about it in those terms, right? You're not thinking, oh, I'm putting attention on what I don't want. You're thinking about, I'm trying to solve my problems. But if you look at what you're actually doing, you're putting your attention on what you don't want. Because even though you're putting your attention on it in a negative way, you're saying, I don't want it. I want to get rid of it. I want to solve that problem. Your attention is still going to what you don't want. And that law is governing creation. So whatever you put your attention on, that's where the energy goes. So if you keep doing that, you're going to keep getting more of it. So the secret is know what you want, put your attention on that. So again, think about it. Hopefully this was a somewhat shocking experience to realize if I wave the magic wand and I take away all of your problems, suddenly you don't know what to put your attention on because you're so practiced at putting your attention on these certain things and they're what you don't want. You know, I don't want the debt. I don't want the stress. I don't want the drama in my life. I don't want the health problems. I don't want these things. I don't want those. And what do you get? Those things. And it's like this game of whack-a-mole. You know the game of whack-a-mole? It's this thing in, arcade game. I don't know why it's really a game, but it, mechanical thing, and these little mechanical moles pop up through the holes, and you hit one of them, and then the next one pops up. And then you whack that one, and then the next one pops up. And then you whack that one, and the next one pops up. I don't know why this is fun. But this is how most people are playing the game of life, right? It's a game of whack-a-mole. So you say, oh, finally I solved that problem. Now I don't have that problem anymore. Up pops the next problem. You keep whacking that one until finally you get that one to go down. And then it's like, oh, finally got that one taken care of. The next one pops up. And it's fundamentally the same thing because the underlying issues are the same. And that's what you keep putting your attention on. And that's why you keep getting more of it. And we can understand those in terms of, like limiting beliefs that you might have about yourself and life. They keep all of these things in play. So you might say, well, I solved, it used to be I was, 50 pounds overweight and I solved that problem. Look at me. Fantastic. Then you say, and now I have this completely unrelated problem. This completely unrelated problem of my finances are in the trash. And then you finally solve that one and you say, look at me. I solved the problem. I was 50 pounds overweight. I solved the problem of my finances now. I'm fit as a fiddle. I've got the six-pack abs and I've got I've got $1 million in the bank. And now I have this completely unrelated problem that, my marriage is totally in ruin. Completely unrelated. But they're not completely unrelated because you've been practicing having problems. So no matter what you do, you're going to have more problems until you finally realize that you don't want problems. And then you have to put your attention on what you do want. So this can save you an awful lot of distress, heartache, worry, anxiety, if you really understand this. This is why I'm bringing this to your attention. because just take a look and see how true this is. I mean, you can, if you don't agree, you're welcome not to agree. But just take a look sincerely and just see, can you recognize that this is a pattern that you recognize in your own life and certainly in the lives of others, right? Because if you look at these celebrities who people follow and they try to emulate, a lot of the time, not always, but a lot of the time, they're playing whack-a-mole. So they've solved one problem, but then they've got a dozen other problems that are just lined up waiting to be addressed, because it has to keep happening, that there'll keep being more problems, because the name of the game there is problems, because the focus is on what they don't want. So if you emulate that, you're going to get the same in your life. You'll just be solving problems, solving problems, solving problems, solving problems, solving problems, and lo and behold, there are always more problems. Because if you keep focusing on what you don't want, you're going to keep getting what you don't want.